Hello and welcome to this week's podcast YouTube show with me, Kate May, Modern Day Mystic. We are, I'm not even sure what episode this is, 7, 8? We've got big things happening this week, particularly with astrology. So we're going to go straight in and look at the astrology for the week, how you can use that with your tarot cards, and of course Feng Shui before we look into other areas that I've chosen to speak about this week. Now, the reason it's such a big week is because we've got Uranus moving or connecting to Gemini, moving into Gemini after 8 years of being in Taurus. Uranus is the planet of upheaval, rebellion, sudden changes. And in Taurus, it was to do with money, systems, financial structures. And if you look how much that's changed in the last 8 years, pre-lockdown, massive changes. Uranus in Taurus during lockdown was always going to be big, to do with how we deal with our finances and the changes, the disruption of things. Now it's moving into Gemini this week. The last time it was in Gemini was 84 years ago. Lots of things, if you Google back, happened 84 years ago. This is more on a personal journey as opposed, well, it is going to be worldwide, but we're going to find a lot more personal things going on. Gemini is the sign of communication, of the sign of technology. It's the sign of choices and where we communicate things. Now, Uranus being the planet of sudden changes, rebellion, may not like certain aspects of Gemini because Gemini want to communicate and work things through, whereas Uranus may just be like a bull in a china shop there. Gemini's energy can be fickle. We can be up 1 minute, down the next. We can be here, there. It can be changeable. Uranus energy is also changeable because it's sudden changes. So we're going to have some big changes in this next 8 years, particularly the way that we communicate with others. What might be super interesting is the communication on other planets. I think in the next 8 years, that's going to be big, with perhaps sudden surprises, although to some it would be no surprise. Certainly the way that the world communicates. So communication is going to be big. Discussions, but technology over the next 8 years, the AI technology is going to change the game big time. So you want to be looking at your own, where your Gemini and Uranus sit in your birth chart. That will give you the house as to where you may feel some of these changes going on. Now, it's not to say it's going to be a negative. It's just going to be a change. But as humans, we adapt to change. We are very versatile. We are very good at adapting. We're resistant, resilient. So even though Uranus comes in a bit like a bolt out of the blue, we as humans, we usually know how to change our own gear with that. We also have the 7th of the 7th, which is, if you're watching it, it's going to be on the Monday. And this is all the Sirius energy, the Sirius star energy, which is beautiful energy. And now that is all about manifesting and upgrade and spiritually evolving and just having that penny dropping moment. That connection with this Uranus in Gemini is actually going to be quite good. It means we've got a bit more of a positive spin. My kind of loose prediction is that it's probably going to take a couple of years before we really see some effects of this. Because just thinking back to the Taurus energy, that took a couple of years. You think lockdown was 5 years ago, but it actually went in 8 years ago. So I think it's going to take a couple of years before we really see things. However, technology is moving super, super fast at the moment. Uranus, like, we break things down. We're just going to like bulldoze that and we're going to create something very different with it. So let's have a look at the cards. Actually, just before we do that, the other aspect we've got this week is the full moon in Capricorn. So it's all going on. Now, Capricorn energy is routine or order. They like structure. So can you imagine someone like who likes order and structure, and then all of a sudden they've got Uranus coming in at the chart somewhere. So we do have a little bit of disjointed energy. However, I like Capricorn energy. Capricorn rules the 10th house in astrology, so it's all to do with your career or your day-to-day journey of life. For those of you that aren't working, or where maybe you work from home, or look after children or parents or somebody there, then it's like your journey of life. It's the 10th house. And in Feng Shui, career or everyday or sort of journey energy is the north part of your home. So we certainly want to focus on the north part of our home this week, as that full moon in Capricorn comes in. Now, full moons are about letting go. Full moons are about bigger pictures, realizations. Great time to charge all your crystals. It's a good time to really meditate and think, well, what needs to be finished or what needs to be let go. Think back to the last 6 months. What did you start 6 months ago? Is it working out for you, or does it need a bit of a readjust? Is it not working? Do you need to let it go completely? So thinking back when we had the new moon in Capricorn, new beginnings in work or in our journey. I'm going to say work for now. And then 6 months later, how's that going for you? Do you need to readjust things? Are there things that might be controlling you, Saturn? Is there things that maybe you've had your hopes set high on something? As a Capricorn, we want to goal get, we want to be focused. Sometimes Capricorns can be the workaholics, so like we're on a mission. Maybe now we're realising, do you know what? We want to have a bit more fun. We want to take some of these restraints or some of this control away. Maybe we're getting a bit of a better balance with home and family life there. For some of you, we're in the heat of the summer and it's beautiful. Who wants to work in the summer, really? So there might be that adjustment. For some of you, you're going to go into the winter. So it's time to hibernate. It's time to quiet down. It's not really the time to think about all career and work. So wherever you are in the world, this turning point that's happening this week just allows you to focus a little bit more on where your journey is heading and realising, am I on track, am I not, and are my goals still attainable, or do I need to let some things go there? If you've got a Capricorn in your chart of some kind, like I've got mine as a descendant, it's going to be extra heightened. So it's going to be a bit more comfortable to do that this week. So we have changes one way or another, but we also have that beautiful serious energy. So it is exciting. Like I said, Feng Shui way, it's the north this week. It's the north that you're focusing on. Put a beautiful plant. I bought a new plant today. I bought a beautiful, what's it called? I wanted it forever. I can't remember the name now. Anyway, it's a green plant and it grows upwards. Snake plant. That's it. Snake plant. Excellent for your career area. Something that grows upwards because you want your career to go upwards or your day-to-day energy to go upwards. That area, make sure it's clean of clutter. No rubbish things, no bins, no broken items. So make sure you give your north area this week as we come into that full moon a bit of a shape up, a bit of a move around. It's always good to move a bit of energy because moving the energy creates the flow there. Some of you, if you've watched me for a while or listened to others, you may have your remedies in place already. So this week is the week to change it up in the north area. This week is we want to clean that area. I've got my north area needed earth elements. So I've got lots of crystals. So this week for me, I need to redo all of those. Take them all out of the jars or the bowls, give them a good shiny clean, put them out in the full moon energy to reset that lovely intention there. And that might be if you've got earth elements in your career. Last year I needed fire elements, so whatever it is I need. Last year I had a red cover, it would mean this time it's going in the wash. So whatever you've got around that north area, we need to just zhoosh it up a little bit to reinvigorate that energy there. So let's have a look at the tarot cards then that connect to these wonderful astrology. Now, in Feng Shui, we want to put that Ace of Pentacles in the north this week. Ace of Pentacles is Capricorn energies, earth energy, so it relates to Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Not necessarily, not just the people, but the energy. So we want to put the Ace of Pentacles most definitely in your north area as you reset those intentions. We have the Two of Pentacles. This is all about, it's called Jupiter in Capricorn, the Two of Pentacles. Jupiter is the planet of expanding and luck. Two of Pentacles is like we get extra resources now that we can juggle. We might have to make some choices with our resources going on there. We have the Three of Pentacles, which is the Mars in Capricorn. So this energy is more goal focused. This is like, right, we're on a mission now. We're ready to start projects. It's also to do with teamwork, dream work, bringing people together, collaborations. And we have the Four of Pentacles, which is the Sun in Capricorn, which is about holding tight to things, being cautious so that we're not too generous or we're letting go, but also being flexible so we're not being too tight. So it's about getting that balance, but certainly around material things, a little bit of caution. Now, the other court cards is the Page of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles. She's Capricorn. Page of Pentacles is all about Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus energy, earth energy, grounding energy, money, stable, security, stability, home, work. Capricorn in the Queen of Pentacles, she would be excellent also in the North area this week. She's like, I've got this. I can have my cake and eat it. I can do my work. I can be successful. I can run my home. I can run the children, the animals, my husband, the wife. I've got it all going on and I can manage it. So she's excellent in the North area, particularly this week. Now, when we go back to the Uranus and Gemini's energy, we have the Fool with Uranus. So, you know, the Fool, it's all about new adventures. It's about sudden changes. It's about unknown things, unaware things, kind of like feel the fear and do it anyway. That's the Uranus vibe that comes with this. We're entering a new cycle. Gemini is the lovers, communications, soulmate. Soulmates, I think I've spoke to before. It's not necessarily the person that you fall in love with forever and it's all happy ever after. It's those that teach you your lessons of your soul. So we've got big lessons coming in our soul. But it is also to do with communication, the Lovers card in Gemini. Transparency, they're naked. So it's literally like putting your cards on the table, what you got. Uranus comes in, can't help but be transparent because it's all you know, everything's going to be out in the open. Rules the third house, which is to do with travel. So there are some travel question marks this year. I do know of a lot of people that aren't doing big travel journeys this year, she says, as her son is in Magaluf at the moment, because there is the Uranus and Gemini travel connection, which can be unexpected crashes or sudden things happening with travel, particularly short distance travel as well as long distance, but it's in the third house, which is short distance. I don't want to worry you because there's still millions of people that go out every day and perfectly fine. I'm just talking about a astrological point of view there as a possibility. It is to do with technology. The third house, like I said, is technology. So we will have some changes, sudden changes, evolutions, revelations coming in, and rebellious actions even, because there's going to be people that perhaps don't want that to happen. So it could go either way with the changes coming in there. Gemini in the court cards is the Knight of Swords, and he literally says, less haste and more speed. So, no, less speed, more hate. Oh, I don't know. You know the one that I mean anyway. So use your head over your heart. Think before you speak. Think before you action. Or just, although you might be ready, make sure that you check in. Just check in that everything is doubly right. In a minute, we'll be in a Mercury retrograde. We'll be definitely checking. We do have a retrograde, a Mercury retrograde. Not Mercury. We have a retrograde this month. I forget what sign it's in. But we've got a lot of things. That might even be in Capricorn, you know. Could be Capricorn actually. We've got a lot of energy going back, just checking over. I think preparing for this sudden change that's coming up. I think we'll see more in the next 2 years, like I said. So there we have the astrology and the tarot. Exciting things, but I probably made it sound worse than what it actually is. It's also exciting. This Uranus and Gemini can be really exciting, although it might be sudden, although it might be a bolt out the blow, it might be unexpected. The communication levels that it could bring could be really revolutionary. This is going to be big. here. And the sun in the moon in Capricorn is going to show us what no longer serves us, where we've been focusing perhaps on things that have been taken over our life, that have been controlling us, that have been restricting us. We're going to break free from that a little bit this week. We're going to be like, oh, let's just enjoy ourselves. Let's just take those chains off. Let's just have a bit of freedom. And that again comes in with that lovely Uranus energy. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, I had somebody come into the shop this week, and I've had quite a few over the years come in. Also, by the way, it's our 7-year anniversary this week in the shop, this month. I think it is this week. 7 years we've been there, 7 years. So we are doing I think it's GoFundMe page, or Just Giving, something like that, where we are raising money for mental health, because we do have a lot of people that come into the shop who suffer from quite bad mental health. And because our shop is quite calm and chilled, and we can talk to our customers, it's not like a traditional Costa where it's flying by and you don't really get to meet your clients, your customers properly, or where it's super busy and noisy. People come in and they feel calm, and I've lost count how many people have said like they felt so much better once they've left, or it's been their safe space. So we're raising money for Mind this month, so you can go onto the Mystic Coffee Lounge and on Facebook and just check out their our fund raising link. Anyhow, my point being, somebody came into the shop and said there was activity going on at their home. Did I have anything to get rid of negative spirits? And I get this question a lot. Do you get this question a lot? And negative and positive are kind of, in my mind, down to interpretation. I'm not a massive believer of negative spirits in the way that has been interpreted or put across, particularly through TV and things over the years. I 100% believe in negative energy though, and that's easier to get rid of. The spirit world have an intelligence, so therefore they can do what they want. No matter what we're going to do as humans, we can't really interfere with that. So to be moving one of them on, they can do that themselves if they choose, and they can choose to stay if they want. And if we don't want them, if we're feeling uncomfortable, you only have to talk to them and they will back off a little bit, unless they feel that they need to be there to warn you perhaps for something. So therefore that negative energy may not quite be in the negative way. Anyhow, a negative energy rather than the spirit is easier. For me, it's usually trauma. It's usually built up over a period of months or years, where there's been arguments or losses, tears, emotional behaviour, hormonal children, toxic relationships, death, real sad things that are going to create that energy. And we project an energy, good or bad, we project an energy from our aura all the time. And if we've got trauma, and if we're going through difficult things, say we hate our job, and then we're coming home and the house is terrible and don't get on with our partners, or hate our children, not only are you going to be carrying that energy around you every day, you're going to come through your door, you're going to bring that energy through your door, then you're going to spread it around your whole room, your whole house, but it's going to get even bigger because the people in your house, it's all toxic, it's not great. And this is where I believe Feng Shui is a game changer, not in just making things neat and tidy. It's not about that. It's the energy will game change it, will balance it in harmony. But you can do things yourself with sage for energy. Now, I have, many years ago, I saw, and if I didn't believe it, I don't think I'd believe it. If I didn't see it, I don't think I'd believe it. But I saw a negative energy ball, if you like. I was sat in this lady's house. She'd been having a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse with relationship, physical, mental abuse. And things were starting to move around her house. Things were starting to fall off the wall. She was having activity. And when I went round there and we did the cleansing with the sage and the prayer, I sat on her settee waiting for a minute or other. And it was about, I don't know, so the size of 2 footballs put together, shall we say. And it was misshapen. It was like a cloud. And it literally, I saw it at foot level, black as well, black, but it was see-through. It was like a cloud, and it just kind of swirled from the door into the room that I was in, and then it just sort of gently moved its way past my feet, out through the door. I saw it with my own eyes. So I know that negative energy exists, and it's built up energy. Now that energy doesn't have an intelligence, but it does have a form. So it can move, it can disrupt things in the home. Certainly it will spoil the balance and bring in a negative vibe, but it can move things as well and break things and cause things to perhaps fall off the walls or bump in the night, if you like. But it has no intelligence, therefore it can be removed as well. And that's what we did. So when this lady came in, I was explaining this to her. I sold her the sage that she came in for, told her how to use it. But it's not as easy as just go home with the sage. Sometimes you've got to change your mindset. Sometimes you've got to kick the person out that's being toxic. That's not always easy. You might have to remove yourself from the situation. A lot of it takes time. It's just like we need to start cleansing first, but actually we need to then start working on ourselves and healing ourselves. It's a process. Sometimes it's really simple. It might be that you've just moved into a house and you can feel the energy is really bad. So change around of furniture, saging, maybe putting some salt down overnight to absorb some negative energy, using some salt lamps or salt cures, water cures in certain rooms certainly helps to do all that. And that might be all it needs for a couple of months. But if you're in it and then you're spending that time creating that energy, you've got your nightmares, waking up at night, worrying about this person, stressing about that, you're just projecting negative energy all the time, and that energy will 100% build. So I'm going to say, as we come into this full moon in Capricorn, try and let it go. Try and look at if you have got some of that energy building, where it's coming from. Personal responsibility, accountability is the first thing to look at, because then you've got the power to change it. And that could go across anything. Once you take personal responsibility or take accountability, you have the power to change that there. So recognizing where it's coming from, and it might not be you, it could be a situation you just can't get yourself out. Maybe it's a child, with mental health problems, going through a really difficult time at school. Salt water lamp in their bedroom would definitely help balance those energies and remove that negative energy, along with certain crystals, smoky quartz, amethyst as well can help. Maybe doing some shifts like that, decluttering, saging, will help them think, I need to get some help. Or it might unblock things where some help comes along and it starts to change the energy there. Little shifts can end up turning into big shifts there. So ask yourself if you're not happy with something, and what can you do about it? What little changes do you need to make? But the bigger things that are going on around you, it may mean that you've got to perhaps change your way of thinking and really be conscious of what you're projecting out and who you're around as to what energy they project out there. So be mindful when we're talking about negative energies against negative spirit. Negative energy, without a doubt, can be a pain in the arse, but it is removable and doable to achieve that beautiful, harmonious balance. And that's where we've got that our vibration. When sometimes we feel that, like cutting the energy when you walk in a place and they say you could cut the atmosphere, you could just feel it. Or when you're with somebody and you just feel really close to them, you feel like I gel with you, or the opposite, there's something about you I don't like. I can't put my finger on it, but there's this like jarring energy. Energy is huge, energy is massive, and that vibration that they're sending off and you're sending off, sometimes it just doesn't align. That's fine. Some homes we just don't align with, so we need to do things to rebalance that. And certainly in our own energy, we want to be in a peaceful place. So when we start holding being accountable and holding personal responsibility, we can look at how powerful we can change that. So there we have that. I feel like, oh yes, there's always another thing I forget about. My mystic happenings, where have I been and what have I been up to? I'm going to pull a card in a minute. Forgot to do that last week for you guys. Going to see where things are. So it's been another busy week. Oh my God, my website, I'm like loving it so much. My new website is going to be out soon, a couple of weeks, I reckon. It'll be da-da. The branding is amazing. Up Brand UK have just been Dreamboat, and who does that? Just I can't believe how good it is. There, the colours that she's picked, just very good. The imagery, so excited about that. I did a tarot demonstration and talk this week at one of our local pubs. I've never been there before, never been there before. And beautiful group of people there, and really interesting. I haven't spoke about tarot for a little while. I've been talking about Feng Shui for so long. I haven't spoke about tarot, but I absolutely loved it. And it kind of got me back into the buzz again of doing it all. And then with our monthly Zoom meetings with my tarot students, that anyone that's done one of my tarot courses, I'm loving that. Just had one tonight. So I'm really enjoying getting back into tarot as well as the Feng Shui. But it has been busy because I've had lots of clients. The shop has been mental this week. We had a really good week at Mystic Coffee Lounge. Sun in July has brought everybody out. But also because I've been doing things behind the scenes of my website, I've got to re-record every single video. So there's going to be new tarot e-courses coming up, and new other courses coming up there, which I've been wanting to do for a long time and never really settled with the one that I had. There was always like, oh, I need to redo that, but I couldn't be bothered. But now I've got to, but because of all the new branding, the right time at the right place. If I'd have done it several times over the years, I've thought about redoing it, and I would have had to redo it again now. So obviously the right timing for everything, and now is the perfect time to give it a bit of a shake up. So I'm really excited, and that's a little bit to do with what Uranus energy is going to bring. It's going to strip us of what we know. It's going to strip us of what we're comfortable with, Uranus, and it's going to be like, it's not quite a glow up or rebrand, but it might be a bit bumpy along the way, or it may be that our higher learning, what we're going to learn from this Uranus energy, is definitely how to communicate easier, or how to navigate communications better, shall we say, there. But if you think of how you've handled the financial changes from pre-lockdown to now, there, think of that in the same way with the communication levels, how you'll deal with ways of communicating there, and travel opportunities, and obviously AI. So it'd be interesting if I'm still sat here in 8 years' time, when it moves into Leo, then that would be interesting. So we're in for a bit of a ride. But do your little full moon ritual this week. Get your crystals out. Think about things that no longer serve you. You can go to a beach, fire pit, be safe. Write down things that you don't want to have anymore. Things, goals that just didn't materialise. Things that you put time and energy in that you just don't really want anymore. Or forgiveness, letting go. Contracts of people that you want to karmically cut now. Anything that restricts you, anything that limits you in your journey, this is what we want to let go of. Recognise what's holding you back, let it go, so that you can just go boom, forward, full steam ahead. If you want to book any readings or sessions with me, Feng Shui or readings, you can do so on katemae.co.uk. It's going to be the same website, and you won't notice the difference until I start shouting it all. But you can look at the availability anytime. Have a fabulous week, and I'll see you next week.